number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
This is the last night of the long season, and before the story ends, there's something it needs to teach you. But not everyone hears it the first time, but the ones who are meant to always do. There once was a person who kept walking into the same kind of house. Different doors, different faces, different names on the mailbox, but the same feeling inside. At first, the house felt warm. The kind of warm that doesn't ask too many questions. The kind of warm that makes you think you finally found somewhere to rest. So they stayed. They gave pieces of themselves at the door. Their patience, their softness, their understanding. Thinking that maybe if they gave enough, the house would finally learn how to hold them back. But something strange kept happening. The lights would flicker when they needed consistency. The doors would close when they needed reassurance. And the rooms always seemed to echo louder when they were alone in them. Still, they stayed because the house was familiar. And the familiarity has a way of disguising itself as love when you've never known anything else. One day, they met someone who said all the right things. The walls felt softer, the air felt lighter, and for a moment, it almost felt like home. But love built on words, without steady hands, will always shift when silence enters. But love with steady hands will always shift when silence enters. And silence always comes. When it did, they found themselves questioning again, waiting again, explaining again, hoping again, until one night, they stood in the middle of the same house they kept returning to and finally noticed something different. It wasn't the house that kept changing, it was them. They were the ones repainting broken walls. They were the ones fixing lights that kept going out. They were the ones calling maintenance on something that was never built to hold them properly. And that's when it hit them. They were not trapped in these places. They were choosing them over and over again. Not because they deserved less, but because they had started believing that effort meant love and exhaustion meant loyalty. So they left. Not in anger, not in chaos, but in clarity. And the silence that followed was louder than anything they had ever heard, because now there was no house to distract them. Only themselves, only their patterns, only their reflection. And at first, their reflection was uncomfortable, because it showed every time they ignored their intuition, every time they stayed too long, every time they called inconsistency potential, every time they called neglect normal. But eventually, the reflection stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like truth. Because here's what they finally understood. They were not attracting random rooms. They were repeating energy. Every time they abandoned themselves to stay, they built a blueprint. Every time they overgave to be chosen, they trained the world how to treat them. Every time they ignored what hurt them, they invited more of it. And the energy always recognizes its own instructions. So they changed, not loudly, not dramatically, but deliberately. They stopped knocking on doors that only open halfway. They stopped calling places home that required them to shrink themselves inside. They stopped mistaking attention for alignment. And slowly, the kind of doors they attracted began to change too. Not because the world suddenly became different, but because they did. And the one day they walked into a space that didn't require translation. No guessing, no proving, no chasing, just ease. Not perfect ease, but honest ease. The kind that doesn't confuse you, the kind that doesn't make you question your worth, the kind that doesn't feel like survival. And in that moment, they realized something powerful. It was never about finding the right place. It was about becoming the kind of energy that no longer belonged in the wrong ones. Because love was never random, it was always reflective. It mirrors what you carry before it ever meets you. So if the patterns ever feel familiar, don't just ask where it came from. Ask what part of you keeps answering it. And when that question finally gets honest, everything else starts to change. So protect your energy, not because the world is unsafe, but because it's always listening, always responding, always returning to what you practice. And if you finally choose yourself the same way you once chose everyone else, you might discover something you were never taught before. Love doesn't have to be chased. It can meet you at a frequency you finally decide to stay in. And when it does, it won't feel like a lesson anymore. It'll feel like home that required you to lose yourself to enter it. This is where the story ends and where the alignment begins. Home. This is D&D After Hours with your host Destiny Nathasia, the last and final season of season 3. I might call you back later, and hopefully you'll be there to answer. Good night.